had so many messages asking if I would show how to make my buttermilk biscuits. So that's what I'm going to do today, and we're just going to go ahead and get started, and it'll probably be a little messy, but I'm going to show you how I make my buttermilk biscuits. So I start out with 4 cups of flour. I already put 1 here in the bowl, so I'm just going to finish measuring out the flour. And make these level cups, not heaping, just level. So I'm going to do 4 cups of flour. I think biscuits is another one of those things where a lot of people have their own recipe for them, but a lot of people struggle with making biscuits. So I'm just going to show you how I do it. Might be a little different than you've seen, but we like them, so I'll just show you. Okay, so there we have 4 cups of just all-purpose flour. And then we're going to add 1 tablespoon, and I make this kind of heaping, so this is the tablespoon, so about like that, of baking powder. So we're going to add that in there. And then we're going to just whisk this together. Now I'm using a salted butter, so I'm not going to add any salt to this. If you was using an unsalted butter, I would add about a teaspoon of salt. We're just whisking these 2 things together. Now, I'm going to go over to the fridge and get my grated butter. I like to keep it as cold as I can. So this is 2 sticks of grated butter, and we just use a box grater on this, and you want to keep it as cold as you can, and even partially frozen is perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And then we're just going to toss some flour around here a little. And we're not going to do too much mixing with this because our butter is already in small pieces. So we're just going to join it with the flour just a little bit. I feel like we're making pie crust again. This is kind of the way we start with that. I heard from a lot of you guys on the pie crust, and everybody's making pie crust all over the country. It's awesome. It's a pretty easy recipe. Okay, so that's good enough. So we just have lots of little pieces of butter in there. Now, cold buttermilk. This is about 1 3/4. I'm just gonna add that right in there. Cold butter, cold buttermilk. I'm just gonna stir it together. Now, I need to tell you guys, I have an iron skillet that is in the oven right now. And I'm gonna take that out in just a minute because I make my biscuits in an iron skillet, and I preheat the skillet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that out. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on my board here. Then I'm gonna get my skillet up. Let that sit there. I've had that in there probably about 5 minutes or so on 425. So now I'm just kind of getting this all kind of smooshed together. And then I'm going to put it over here. All right. Now, I'm just gonna pat this out a little bit. And now I'm going to fold this over this way, and then I fold it over this way, so it's in thirds. And then I'm gonna press it down again. I'm gonna fold it this way into thirds. And then I have this big mess here. Now, what we're doing is we're creating layers. That's the way that I do it. Then I'm gonna partially pat this. And then I'm going to use my rolling pin just a little bit. Don't want to work with your dough a lot, just like with pie crust. Okay, there's that. Okay, biscuit cutter. Now, to this pan, this iron skillet that I took out over here, I'm going to put some solid shortening in it. And I melted it down. This is just like Crisco. And I melted it down, and I'm pouring it in this hot skillet. And I'll post the recipe so you have all the correct measurements, but that's what I did there. So I'm going to scoot this over a little because I want you guys to see this close up. Bring my skillet over here. Okay, and there's our solid shortening in there. And now we're going to make biscuits. Now you could put these in another pan, but the most important thing you need to know is that they need to touch each other. You don't want to like set them out on a baking sheet with, you know, inches between them. Okay, now I put them down in the shortening and then I turn them. So put one side in and then turn it. So both sides is coated with some shortening. And this is a 10-inch skillet. You could use a 12-inch and you'd be able to pack more in here. I think I can get I'm gonna get 2 more in here. So I like for them to completely touch. Let's smoosh that one over, and it's okay. You can smoosh it, it's fine. And then just turn that right over. Just get it in that shortening and turn it over. And then they're all touching each other. And then you would just pop this into an oven, 425 oven, and then you want to bake this about 13 to 18 minutes. And then they will come out just amazing. And I just kind of want to show you. Now these aren't fresh. I baked these a little bit ago, but see how you can see all these layers in these biscuits? And that's how they come out. They just have all these really flaky layers. And you can see it in, see this one here? See all those layers? And boy, I tell you what, these would be good with some butter and jam, and they would be good with sausage gravy. They're just delicious. So they're gonna come out with a nice crumb on the bottom, and when they get done, just brush a little butter on the tops, and they're pretty great biscuits. I would encourage you to give them a try if you're struggling with biscuits. So I'll post the recipe for you, and you guys try it and let me know what kind of success you have.